involves some colorful adjectives, but yeah, it's uniquely our own, and I'll share with you guys why. So
Perfect. Well, I'll just let you begin. Go ahead.
all right, perfect. So first I will tell you that I don't really work well off a plan. It's just not my style. And so I'm just going to take you through things, and it will kind of go in order, but we might hop around a little bit. First, I need to give you a little bit of background about myself so you kind of have an understanding of where I'm coming from and what I'm talking to you today about, how it's kind of all evolved. I've been coaching for about 2.5 years. Most of you are probably like, I don't even know who this girl is. But about 2.5 years, I'm a former high school teacher that ultimately Beachbody came into my life at a time where I was getting burnt out on teaching. I had looked for it for my own health plan, and the roads just crossed at the right time for the coaching opportunity. And I'm a random, so I'm a beachbody.comer sign up to be a coach. So I was just placed in the team that I was placed on, and the rest is history. So I'm also new to this push for Elite, which is, Elite is now off the table for me, but Premier is not. So I'm still pushing for it at the moment. So a lot of this, like I said, it's all new to me, but this is what's working for me, and this is what has helped me to have the success that I've had to this point. So FTFP, my husband and I work our team together. I'm the face, but he helps me in all aspects. We're Beauty and the Beard, but our team is called the FTFP crew. And the way that this came about, this acronym, which I will fill you in on what it means in a moment, is, I don't know, about, a year, if that, into coaching. I'm all about getting results. That's how I function for myself. And when it came to my health journey, I don't want to dilly-dally. I don't want to take 10 years to lose 10 pounds or 20 pounds. I'm like, if I'm going to do whatever, like, I want the results to come in a healthy way, right? In the right way, but I don't want to screw around with it like some people do. And so my husband and I were out on date night one night, and I was talking about some of my frustrations with some of my challengers at the time who, were whining about this or whining about that. And I'm like, and I'm going to curse, so I apologize. I don't want to offend anyone. But I said to him, I don't get it. Like, if they would just follow the fucking plan, it would work for them. Like, they would be seeing progress and seeing results. And so, of course, we laughed about that for a little bit. But then I was like, wait a minute. That makes total sense. How many things in our life that if we really did just follow the effing plan, which that's how we refer to it. We don't really use the curse word like often, but you can fill in your own adjective, follow the flipping plan, follow the fabulous plan, like whatever works. But follow the effing plan, because more times out of not, like, you're going to get to where you want to be or closer to where you want to be if you just follow the plan. The same is true for this business, right? If we just follow the effing vital behaviors long enough and consistently enough and have, the numbers, we're going to get the results, right? And so that is where our team name came from. That acronym FTFP is known by all of our challengers, although when people come in, they're like, I don't know what it means. And then we fill them in and they're like, but then they get it. So like, in our groups, for example, it's, did you FTFP your nutrition today? Did you follow the effing plan with your nutrition today? It's just, again, it stems from the idea of, I lead with the fitness first. That's what people are coming to me for first. And then all of the other awesomeness that we deliver as coaches comes along after that. So about a year into the business, what we were starting to take a look at was our retention on Shakeology specifically. And we were having success with keeping some core people around. We have lots of people they've been with us since the beginning. So, 2.5 years now. But we were noticing that, we were getting people who were either one and done. We run our groups in 21-day cycles. So they were either one and done, or maybe we'd retain them for like 3 months, right? And then you have like the anomalies. They're the people that end up staying, the lifers. And so, that was good in the beginning. But then it was like, well, it's not so good, because if I'm going to keep moving my business forward, like, we need people, becoming those lifers. And so what we started to take a look at is, okay, we want people to continue to retain themselves on Shakeology. So why are people leaving it? Well, people are only going to continue doing what they see value in and what they understand. And so what we recognized as what we thought would be maybe something that could help change things for us is we weren't spending a ton of time talking about Shakeology to our customers in our groups. Like, it was a requirement. It's a requirement. I'll explain how our groups work in a minute because we have 3 different groups, but it is a requirement to be in our focus groups. But we were, once they were in the group, like, we would explain why we wanted them to be on Shakeology, to be in the group. But once they were in our groups, we weren't educating on Shakeology. So, what we felt was happening is people knew that that was required for them to be in the group. But then once they were either achieving their results or once they decided that they couldn't afford it anymore, they were going off of it because they didn't truly understand what it was doing for their body, not just to aid in getting them results, but what it was doing for their health. And so we made a decision, like I said, a year in, that we were going to restructure how we did our challenge groups. And again, this is kind of where the former teacher in me kicks in, is because I was like, okay, then we need to create a starter curriculum that every person, when they work with us for the very first round, they go through this same curriculum. So they're getting this foundational information. On top of that, we also get people started right. Okay, so I'm going to step to the side for a moment.
Really fast, I have a quick question for you. So you said that you're starting to educate people more on Shakeology in your challenge groups. Give us an example of like what type of stuff and how do you do that?
Okay, so I'm going to show you in just a minute. I'm going to take you into the challenge group and show you. But just to answer that briefly, we started pulling in not just our story. We tell our story, but we're not the experts. And I think sometimes that's where we can go wrong in our business, is we try to become the experts on things, and we don't have to be. And it's also to our advantage not to be, because it's way more powerful to bring in that third-party source video of Carl or Darren or Isabel and let them hear from those people who are the experts. So we began to incorporate third-party videos to allow them to learn more about Shakeology, its creators, what's in it, what it's doing for our body, and that kind of thing, on top of obviously hearing from us and our challengers. So the other component that has contributed to our retention is getting our challengers started right. And the reason that we came up with this process, and again, a lot of this, you may be going like, this isn't anything new, girl, and that's cool, but this is just how we do things and what works for us. One of the things that when I first started the 21-Day Fix Extreme with my husband, that frustrated me the most was putting my meal plan together. It is not my jam to sit down and map out those containers and what recipes. And I sat down with the stuff for like 2 hours. And finally I picked it all up and I walked into the bedroom and I said, you have to do this because I cannot get it figured out. And so as we looked at what it would take to get our people off on the right foot, I said, it's really important that people are able to come in, follow the effing plan, push play on their workout, and not be overwhelmed before they even start. Okay? And so it is not our practice to have people come in, talk to them about the tools, and now say, hey, get it all together. We start on Monday, okay? Because not everyone is going to be capable of doing it at that time. So our philosophy is we want to get them in the door. We want to get them pushing play, following the nutrition plan, and seeing results immediately. And then as they're following our materials, we're helping them to learn and understand and become more comfortable how to do it themselves. Because again, most people, when they're coming to us, they're not coming to us in the very first time. They're not coming to us to have a place to belong. They don't know that yet. They're not coming to us to improve their overall health. Most people don't know that yet. What most people are coming to us for is to lose the 10 pounds, to lose the 20 pounds. And then it's our job, the longer they stay with us, to open up the gates to all of these other ways that they can be transformed, right? So we want to get them what they think they want first, and then the longer they're with us because they get those results because they're following the effing plan, then we expose them to these other things, and then they begin to see this bigger picture. And not everyone, please don't think 100% of our people stay with us forever. Obviously there's people that do not, but the people that come in and follow what we've put into place are having more success. So let me screen share and talk to you about, or show you what we put together. Like I said, we've been doing this for a year and a half now. At this particular point in time, when we came up with this curriculum, we made the decision to split our groups. We were just running one group a month, and we split our group into our starters, which are our first timers, and then we had a VIP group. The VIP group were the returners, the people who had already done the starter group, and now they're coming back for continued challenge groups. And then we have a community page. The community page is any of our customers, clients, etc. They don't even have to have bought anything, just as long as they're assigned to one of our people in our organization as a coach. The VIP groups are people who still want more focused accountability, and so we require them to stay on Shakeology. And then the starter group, it's a requirement as well. So we have a place for everyone to be. It's just the level of attention and focus and structure that you're going to get is going to depend on how in you are as an individual. So when the person comes to us for the first time, we send them a welcome email. And so it's about the experience, right? And that experience starts once you start having these conversations with them. And then what I like to tell the people that I'm bringing in is my work begins once you say yes. That's when my work begins. Because if I don't, not that it's my responsibility, it's not our responsibility to get people results, but it is our responsibility to get them started right and set them up for success. Then the ball is in their court. So if I can get people started right and give them the tools that if they follow the effing plan, they'll get results, then I am going to more likely see people hanging around and keeping with this and retaining them because of that. If someone comes in and they have a shitty experience right off the bat because they're not prepared, they don't understand, they're not getting what they need, and they're not seeing those results in those first 21 days, it's going to be hard for most people to stick around with that. And that's the person that I was. If I don't see results in the first few days of something or whatever, then see you later. But if I get just a little taste of it, I'm yours forever. So I send them this welcome email. I'm not going to go up through everything, but it's basically just saying, hey, we're so excited to have you. Let's think about what you're embarking upon. What do you need to do? Well, we give them homework assignments in this. Now, they will get this email. Ideally, I send this email to them right after they enroll. That's not always what goes down. But we have a 5-day prep that happens before our Monday start. And so that prep starts on a Wednesday. The group opens on Tuesday. So they will receive this email by the Sunday before the Wednesday that we start prep. Okay? At the very least. So they get this email. So I take them through this process. And so what we did is we sat down and we mapped out what we felt were the things that people who are getting ready to start this, what did they really need to know up front? So we created short little videos that are 3 minutes in length each, or we used a third-party source to walk them through tutorials of some of the things that would be important. So we created a quick little video that talked to them when they get their pack, what should they expect to see in their pack, what do they need to look at, etc. Now, along with this, I will show you, and then I'll come back to it, they do have a little checklist that they get. And so this is a checklist that they can have out, and they check the boxes, and they ultimately have to take a photo of this and email it back to us so that we know that they've gone through it. If they don't, then that's cool. I mean, it's not cool, but it's cool that they don't. But I know I've given them the materials and they chose not to follow through with it, right? So I'm saying if you want to be successful, go through this checklist. If they don't, then that's up to them. But I don't really let anyone ever like not turn it in. So anyways, the unboxing of the pack, then going through the booklets. And so we talk a couple links that talk about the container system. And again, these are all just really short videos, and they have, like I said, like, 3-4 days to get this done on their own. We'll select a program with them, Beachbody on Demand navigation tutorial video there. The workout calendar, we had some people that like we would get like a week into a group before we implemented this, and they're like, oh my gosh, like there's a workout calendar? I thought I was just like, really, so they weren't reading these things. And, as a former high school teacher, you have to train people to do what you want them to do. Sometimes we just assume like, oh, you should read your nutrition book. Oh, you should look for your workout calendar. Not everyone is going to think that, as simple and basic as it sounds. So you have to train them or tell them what it is you need for them to do. And I think sometimes that's what we can kind of not remember, is that the majority of people coming to us, they don't know what to do. That's why they're coming to us. So even though we're not like certified anything necessarily, we do have experience in these programs and products. That's why they're coming to us. So people aren't looking for wishy-washy. They're looking for someone to lead them and tell them what to do. Okay. And so that's why we've created this. We also have a little commitment sheet that is, and I'll post these in the page so that you guys can look at. But it's not, we don't call it a contract, but it's just, here's what you're committing to. Like, you're committing to engaging in the group every day. You're committing to drinking your Shakeology every day. So again, it just walks through those things that maybe isn't necessarily at the forefront of their brain, because this is new to them. And then we have, we show it an animated video of Simon Sinek's Start With Why for them to look at, and then they obviously write a paragraph about what their why is to the best of their ability. And then, like I said, we ask them to email us photos, and then that's the first email that they get, right? So then the next day, so this is the first email they get. Then the second day, so this is still all before our group has opened up for prep, they get email number 2. So when we went to this starter group, the other thing that I felt like I'm just going to take the lead on is I'm going to give them the choice of what program they're going to do. Now, it's always optional for people to ultimately say, hey, I think I want to choose something else. But I know that we have programs that are great places for people to start, and then they can move on later. So we always suggest in this email, and I tell them about it, and I tell them they have the whole library, but we suggest either 21 Day Fix or Country Heat, because someone, you're either one style or the other for the most part. Those are great foundational programs to start with, nutritionally and workout-wise. And then it does tell them in there, if you think that these aren't up your alley or they're not advanced enough for you, and obviously, like, if I already know someone's fitness level and I know this isn't going to work, I'll throw in another option. But this just keeps it really simple, because again, it's about getting them results, it's about getting them connected, and then the rest of it kind of unfolds as they're with us. So they choose between one or the other, and so every starter is normally doing 21 Day Fix or Country Heat, and they give me their weight. So the third email that they get is we give them a full meal plan. This again stemmed from the fact that I struggled putting together the meal plan when I started. On top of the fact that people are always asking about meal plans. They don't want to always have to make those decisions. They want choice, but sometimes they want the decisions made for them. And so in this email, I figure their bracket for them. I tell them what bracket they're in. I give them information about how they can change things up from the template that we do provide them. And again, I will share all these documents with you guys. What I attach is the 21 Day Fix food list. Even though they can access it on BOD, I want it to be in front of them when they get this email. We give them a full meal plan. that we've put together. So we have it for every bracket. We're actually going to end up increasing the number of meal plans that we will offer our people that continue to stay on Shakeology and in our groups, because that's something that we've noticed that people continue to ask for. My VIPers are still going, can we get a new meal plan? And right now I tell them no, but we're getting ready to put some together because it's what people value. Not a lot of people like planning out their weeks, but if you could hand it to them already done, they're going to love you for it. I have people that probably aren't currently doing my groups that they would come in and they would pay for Shakeology if they knew they were going to get a meal plan every week from me. And we're going to be moving towards that because that's what people want. That's what they need. So anyways, this is all laid out for them. All they have to do is follow the effing plan. And that's what we tell them. If you follow this plan and you do your scheduled workouts and you drink your Shakeology and you engage with our accountability components, you will see results. You won't lose all of 50 pounds in the 21 days, but you'll see results, and this will get you there. And they know that they can go in and tweak this, but it's all set up for them. It's also set up in an Excel spreadsheet, so they can go in and they can easily change out their container counts, and Excel will figure. I'm going like this because Excel is not my thing. My husband puts this together. But they can go in, and if they decide that they want to take out their strawberries at breakfast and they want to put in an apple at dinner, they can just take it out and it's going to readjust the container counts for them. So it's really simple once this is created for them to do. It definitely made my life easier. So they get this, right? We don't give them a shopping list, which some people like. I'm not about trying to put together how much of what you need to get. You can do that yourself, but everything else they get ahead of time. So then we open the group. And so I'm going to take you in here. And so that's all the prep stuff. We do either do a either kickoff Zoom call. We started that. I went away from it and just started doing a live video on the Thursday before we actually start our program on Monday. But I did go back to the Zoom call because I want to, again, expose them to what we do as coaches. And so getting them used to being on Zoom and getting them used to interacting with each other face-to-face is important. So we just did a kickoff call for our newest group this last Thursday, not Thursday, it was Thanksgiving, but Friday morning we ended up doing it. And they all hopped on and, we just did some brief chit chat. And again, it just kind of helps break the ice before they get into these groups. Because sometimes, people get into these groups, guys, and they don't even know what to do in the groups. We know because we're coaches. They get in here and they don't know. We have to show them, we have to train them. So I'm just showing you the photo album part, and then I'll scroll through the wall. But they have all that homework, right, in the beginning, which they all do because they're excited and they're checking off the boxes and they're doing it. So then when prep begins that Wednesday, they get 1 or 2, again, short videos each day during prep week. We talk to them about their meal plan. We talk to them about meal prepping and the importance. We encourage all of our people to prep their meals for the entire week. And we talk about why, because we want them to be successful. If it's prepped, you're more likely to eat it. If it's not, you're more likely to go out to eat. We talk about water intake in a video. We talk about Shakeology and how to make it and how to give it a chance and how to speak up if you don't like it so that we can help figure that out. And again, this has all been built off of that first year where we saw things that worked and didn't work. We talk about the group structure. Here's what you will expect to see starting Monday. You're going to see this post. You're going to see this. Here's what you do here. Here's what you do here. So we do all of those things, get them educated, get them pumped and ready to go. And now I'll take you into the group itself. So when the group starts, and this is the next component of how we help our people be successful. So we've prepped them for success in knowing and understanding what to do enough to push play and follow their nutrition plan and drink their shake. The next part comes into the group. We have a very structured system for our group. Our wall is closed, so they cannot initiate their own post. We've done it both ways. What we found is not only was it crazy overwhelming for me to keep up with people and commenting, but it was overwhelming for them. So the wall is restricted, but they have specific places to go and freely post. And so again, what's interesting is when you train them, make sure that this is what you want, or if you go to something else, be ready to untrain them, because our community page is like free, and they hesitate to like make their own like single post in that page. Like if they hop out of one of these groups and go to our community page for a while, like they have a hard time making their own post, because they don't do that in the group, because we've trained them so well that they're like, only reply to the posts we make. So here's what they get every day. So every day, sorry for the scroll here. Every day there are 3 posts. Maybe we should go back to the photo album. There are 3 posts. There's a morning call to action post. This is where we either educate them on something, or we do mindset work, but it's something to get them engaged. They can answer it any time of the day, but we encourage them to do it in the morning, okay? So that morning post, in our case, in this group, is normally a video. I'll go back and show you in a minute. They have a gathering spot. The gathering spot, this is where I incorporate our theme. So our theme isn't always incorporated like into the daily post. It's just a theme for the group, and I incorporate the theme on my images. I keep a general template, and then I just swap out like this was a hero group, so you see Batman in the background. Like I change it for whatever we're doing, but that keeps it fresh for me too, and it keeps it fresh for them from going to group to group. The gathering spot is where they post the things that they want all day long. So the gathering spot is where they post their sweaty workout selfie on that thread. That's where they post if they want to post pictures of their shake or their food, if they want to ask questions about something, if they want to talk about, someone brought in a whole thing of donuts at work today, help me not have one. It's all on that thread in the gathering spot. That's where they gather to interact with each other that day. The morning post, like I said, is the educational piece. So in that starter group, I think there's like 7 different videos. So 21 day cycles we run in. There's 7 different videos on Shakeology. So think about that. How much exposure are you giving new people? And not just new people, but right now that's what we're talking about, to Shakeology. Like they've got 7 different times throughout the 21 days that they're exposed to information about Shakeology, when before we weren't even addressing it. So no wonder people weren't hanging around. We talk about the fundamentals. We talk about social gatherings. We talk about the sabotagers in your life. We talk about lifestyle versus super on point nutrition, which is for you, when do you need to dial it in? When do you need to be flexible? So we just came up with like the 21 things that we believe are the foundation for people to ultimately be successful with and understand this for the long term. And I'll share those topics with you. So every morning call to action, there's a question that goes along with it. Because if you want them to engage, you have to ask them to engage. So we have that. And then the gathering spot, those posts are scheduled at 4 a.m. every morning. Now, before I paid, when I was a newbie and paid for, I literally, guys, would get up at 4 in the morning to pin those posts. And every day, like we went to Cancun like 6 months in, and I would wake up at 4 a.m. My husband was like, "You're crazy. They can do it at 6." And I'm like, "No, they gotta have." So scheduler, but those go up at 4 a.m. every single day, Central Standard Time. And so the interaction, like I said, comes on that gathering spot. And then every single night, they have an accountability check-in. This is key. If they're not held accountable for the things that are going to get them the results, a lot of them aren't going to do those things, right? So what we determined was important for people to have success once they start doing this is they need to do their workout. They need to follow the FE nutrition plan. They need to drink their shake every day. They need to drink their water for their body weight each day. And they need to engage mentally in that call to action post. So every day, those are the 5 key things. We say those are the 5 areas that if you're doing those things consistently, you're going to be making progress towards your goals. There's no way that you won't. And so every day, they fill out a Google Doc for us. Looks like this. every day. It's the same thing. They put their last name, they put their first name, they put in the date, and then it's you get a point or you don't get a point. So that's the thing too. They either follow the effing plan, they either FTFP their nutrition or they don't. So if you have an extra apple, then you don't get the point for FTFPing because you didn't. And some of them are like little kids with it. They're like, but I only, yeah, but you didn't. So you get the point or you don't. And the thing with me is that, one of the things that I've been doing since the beginning of my journey and even before it is I've been doing videos. I was uploading videos before we had live video. So people know I'm very straightforward and blunt and tough love, but they know my heart because I put my heart out there on social media. They know where I'm coming from. So I'm developing these relationships with people before sometimes I even know them because they're following me. So when they get into my groups, like they know that this is how I roll. And they know it's caring, and they know that I want what's best for them. So they're okay when I'm like, yeah, but you didn't. And they're like, okay. So they rate them, they just click it, and it's real quick for them to do. And then what happens is this pops it into a spreadsheet for us, right? So here's what the spreadsheet looks like. We break it down into the weeks, tallies it all up for us. So here's the cool thing for me is I can go in, and I'll show you the other component of this. I can go in and I can see very quickly who needs my attention. So like we're 3 days into our current group. This is our current groups thing. So like, for example, this is the first 3 days for Kathy. Hey, Kathy has straight 5s. I don't need to focus on Kathy right now, right? But I can look down here and I can see Jill has a 3. Or I can look down here and I can see that Joe has only checked in 1 day in the first 3 days. So that immediately says, hey, I need to reach out to that person. I don't need to reach out to Aaron or Carla or all these people getting 5s. They're on track, right? I can focus on them in the group. So it's a really quick way for me to see who I need to give attention to. The other cool thing is they have a place where they can just write, like it's, hey, do you need to tell me anything? And sometimes people will just be like, it was a great day, or I hope you had a good day. But other times they'll say things like, I've been peeing all day, or they'll ask questions. They'll say, it was a really hard day at work. I had to work longer hours. I didn't have my food with me. Here's what happened. So it allows me to kind of keep my pulse on what's going on with those of them that need to share specific things with me. And it's not like them sending me 50,000 messages to tell me, okay? So here's what we do with these numbers, all right? So my husband creates a pivot table. Again, this is not my jam. This pivot table calculates their points into percentages. This is the teacher part of me. Points don't mean anything to me. If you tell me that you had like 16 points out of 35, like I'm not going to do that mental math fast enough. So what does that mean? You put it in a grading scale, I know what that means. A, B, C, D, or F, right? So what we can see here, and I'll show you, is their percentage. This is what we call their execution rate. At what percentage are you executing those 5 behaviors that you're getting rated on each day? Okay, so this person down here, Jill, she's at a 73%. She's at a C average. That's how she is executing the core things to get her to her results. What does Jill need to look at there? Okay, well, why is she at a C? Is it because she's not doing the check-in? Well, it's important that you check in for accountability. Is it because maybe she's on point with her nutrition? Maybe she's on point, has done all of her workouts, but maybe she's not doing the morning call to actions, the mental component. Well, that's important for long-term success and sustainability. So if you want that percentage to go up, you got to fix those things because we want you to be successful long-term. So here's the last piece of this. We then post these boards. We call them execution boards, which sounds kind of bad, right? So we post these boards in the group so they can see their percentages. We used to post them every day. That got very time consuming for me. So now we post them on Thursdays and we post them on Sundays for the week. So they see this, right? Now, we talk about this before it happens. We talk about how this is not a competition between others, although competitive people will see it that way. I wouldn't want to not have 100% on that board. I would follow the effing plan just so I could stay at the top. And we have people like that. We have other people that are able to keep their blinders on, and they're like, hey, like, I'm at an 89%. Why am I at an 89%? What is it that I need to tweak? What am I doing well? What do I need to improve upon? The other thing we talk about is if you're at an 89% and you see these same names killing it with the hundreds, hey, what's making you so successful each week? What are you doing that is maybe helping you with meal prep? I'm struggling with meal prep. You're killing it in all your categories. What are your tips of the other challengers? So we've really found it to be highly motivational for people. And we ask for feedback because sometimes we're like, do they just do this because we tell them they have to do it? And no, they feel like they're held more accountable. They can see what grade, and we don't even talk about grades, but people's minds like naturally kind of go there. And so they see these. Then the other cool thing that we do, which we've added in, is being more diligent about recognizing them, just like we would do with our coaches. So this was our group from last month. And so what we do within the group is each week we post the top crew members based on that board. The top crew members, it's basically the 100 club. Like, so everyone that gets 100% for that week, they get to be on the board. So we shout them out in this post. Everyone can see the percentages and where they fell for that week. And then I make the little graphic. I put their photos up there. I shout them out. And then I actually make a public social media post with our top challengers, and I tag them all in it. I don't give away any details. I just say these are our top challengers. They've really been killing their health journey this week. Each week, their points start over. So someone, if they had a 55% the first week and they tanked, they're not stuck there like sometimes happens in school. They start over. And it's fresh. And so that's good that they start over. So we do a weekly, we do a drawing out of the weekly people, and they get a little prize. And then at the end, we will have the top people, and we do a post about that. So we have our top challengers for each week, 3 weeks, and then we have our overall. So we take their average of the entire group, and those are the people that are the top challengers. And that's just really been, it really works really well for us, and we get people results. And I think that's what I'm most proud of in the way that we have this structured, is this gets people results. It, on top of the educational component about the Shakeology and what have you, those things combined helps to get them results. If they're getting results, they're more likely to stay. And the longer you have them, the more you can expose them to, right? So the longer that they stay, because you've held them accountable, because they're getting results, then the more, like I said, those doors open up to dive into now, like looking at improving your overall health. It's not just about this weight loss, or improving your mindset and how this can then spill into your relationships and your profession and all of these different things. So after a person goes through this starter group, they then move into what we call our VIP group. And like I said, that's just anyone who's completed that one group with us. As long as they're still on Shakeology, they move into that group to be brought in with like the general population, right? That's still wanting that focused. And then those people, because we always have them that choose not to go forward at that time, they will go into our community page. They can still have accountability. They just don't have to be on Shakeology. And we have a morning post there. We have a nightly just kind of check in on their own. And it's more peer run. But we've really found that this works extremely well for us. It's really easy to kind of plan out. Everyone is trained. They know what to expect. Our groups all function on this structure. And we just, like I said, we change up the theme each month. We choose to do a fresh group, even with our returners, because it just keeps things fresh for us. It keeps it fresh for them. And the other component of this, guys, even though I've been talking about starters, is, you know, while the goal ultimately is to get people becoming independent, because you don't want them leaning on you forever, right? That's not the point. But we also don't want to like forget about our returning people, right? I always use like Sprint as an example. Like I have Sprint cell phone service, and Sprint is like all about the new customers, but they like crap on the people who have been with them forever. Like, where's my special deal that I've been with you for 10 years, right? So I think we've got to find that balance, because we all know in this business, we have to continue bringing new people in. That's the only way that you grow your business exponentially. But you also can't forget about the people that keep coming back to you. And so we make sure that we're doing these things within our group to where they still feel special too. It's also a great place where they're able to, obviously coach each other. Our builders have all come from our challenge groups, not as quickly as I would like them to, of course. I'm sure y'all can relate with that. But they are coming. For example, we've got about 3 new builders that started with us in August, and just the end of October said, okay, I'm ready to really try out this coaching thing. So it's cool. We get a lot of referrals. We ask for them to give us referrals. If you treat people right and they know where your heart is coming from, and they know that you're trying to get them what they need and then give them more than what they even knew they wanted, they're going to be loyal to you. And they're going to, there's people that don't want anything to do with coaching, but gosh, they send me referrals like every single month because they're like, we love this group. And I also get a lot of people that end up like, they transfer to me and they get into our group, and they're like, and I'm not trying to like toot my own horn, but they're like blown away, because they're like, no one's ever given me like this much information. Like I would get thrown into a group and it was like I was expected to sink or swim. And I just believe that if we get people started right and prep them to be successful and help them to understand what they're doing and why with these programs and products, then the rest will take care of themselves. But if we don't do that for them, then it's going to be hard for people to stick, because they're not going to get it. Oh,
I love this, Ash. We're just about out of time. Any questions, guys? This was like the most organized challenge group I think I've ever seen. I loved it. Any questions, guys? Any thoughts? Okay. Well, Ashley, we appreciate you so much. I will post the recording. If you just want to kind of post any of your documents underneath my recording, that would probably be great, so it can stay in one area. I will see you guys next week. We have Christy Lyons next week, so join us then, and I hope you guys have a good week. Bye-bye.
You guys.